What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with that quick analysis. We gonna talk about an update on Michael Porter Jr. This guy has been touted as a future superstar, even in his high school days. And even though he hasn't been one in the NBA, hasn't even been an all star, he has shown why so many people loved him and thought that he can be a huge piece to this Denver franchise. And I was one of the people that said I like Doncic and Porter in that draft. And talk about finding a perfect place. They didn't need him to be a superstar right away. They was hard on him. They humbled him, and they allowed him to play through mistakes. And having a guy like Jokic that just makes your job a lot easier. Cut, run, be open, move. And if you do those small little things, he'll find you and make things easy. Oh, Michael Porter has been super efficient because of that. Getting straight line to the basket where all he got to do is lay it in or dunk it. Being able to get spot up threes, even though he can knock down contested ones. It's good to have the easy ones too because it's a confidence booster. And it's just good to put points on the board. But one thing I liked about Porter is he has shown that he's willing to accept the role. A lot of people thought Porter was going to be this gun happy guy that was just going to do whatever he wants. And even though he does have the green light to a certain extent in Denver, especially now since Jamal Murray is gone, he has to do a little bit more than he was doing at the beginning of the season. And some people believed even at the beginning of the season that Michael Porter Jr. could be most improved player. I didn't think he could just because I didn't see the opportunity being there. As Jokic and Murray is just so much of the offense that the numbers just wouldn't give him the best chance of doing it. And now since Murray went down, you're starting to see why I thought that because now that he's gone, he has been doing it numbers wise while still remaining efficient, even though they're a little bit more predictable. But it just shows you that if you can take constructive criticism, you can be a great player in this league, especially when you have the size and the mobility that Michael Porter was blessed with talent wise, and for him to be able to fill out his game would just be amazing for Denver because they was always missing that guy that can just get you a bucket outside of Jokic. And Jamal Murray has shown flashes of it, but he just couldn't do it consistently. And honestly and truthfully, I don't think Michael Porter Jr. is still there at this point of his career because he can get a little bit, stuck where he has to force up a shot or he can't get to the spots that he want, or he just don't have enough moves that they take away his first drive, or they make him pick up his dribble, which stops him from being able to score unless he throws up something like a fadeaway, which he does. And that comes with experience. That comes with growth. That comes with work ethic, knowing your weaknesses and targeting those things and making them strengths. And only the great player does it. Only the best players does it. And you can just look at Jokic going from a guy that wasn't even known as a great post player to being one of the most unstoppable players in the league because he became a great free throw shooter, 3-point shooter, mid range shooter, and a guy that can put the ball on the floor and he can hit floaters. And this guy is a great rebounder too. And he really perfected his knowledge of the game, becoming an amazing playmaker for a center. And Porter has grown, and I'm proud to see him start to embrace like I can do what I need to do on this court. But some small little fundamental things will definitely help his game grow. It will definitely help him become more of a powerhouse offensive player. When you're picking up Porter at 14, you see that body, you see that confidence, you see that swagger that he has as a player out of high school and even in college, and you just want to see how much you can get out of him. And with him being so young and being a great rebounder for his position, being unselfish more than what people thought that he would be at that power forward spot, it do give them a higher ceiling. I always feel like Jeremy Grant, he's only going to get you so far. The best part about Jeremy Grant was he knew his role and also was a great defender at a wing position where you have to have it in the Western Conference because of the Kawhis and LeBrons and stuff like that. Even with the perimeter guards like Curry and Dame, you want to be able to put somebody on that can contain them or make things tough or make them work for buckets. And losing Grant was a huge thing, and we seen that in the beginning of the season. But getting Aaron Gordon really helped Denver out because it gave them that size and that mobility and a guy that understands I only need to do the small things, and if they need me to do anything more than that, I'm capable of it. But I'm also not embracing that I have to be that. And that allows Jokic to shine. That allows Murray to shine at that time. That allowed Porter to shine because he understood what he needed to do and wasn't trying to be more than that, which is perfect for what you needed Jeremy Grant to do, and he did it. And when he needed to do more, like we seen in the playoffs, he had that opportunity to do that too. So this team has been what I have thought. I thought that they would still be a great playoff team. I thought that they still would be one of the top home court advantage teams, even when they lost Jamal Murray, just because this team is just hard to stop. They come at you, and they just do it the whole 48 minutes. They just put you in some tough situations, and with Murray is even tougher. But it's hard to just lock this team down, especially when they making their threes and guys are just aggressive, especially when Jokic is in his lane and just being the best player on the team and just doing whatever he wants offensively. And even though this team has a ceiling defensively because of Jokic and the personnel that they personally put around him, it's still good to see this team shine and really, you know, play even better than what I thought. Because I'm looking at this team and they just going out there taking care of business, even without Jamal Murray. And I thought it would take them some time to adjust with him leaving, and it would take some time to really figure out guys' roles and what they will be needed to do now that he's gone. But it's been seamless. They just been running rum shot and going at everybody. And you got to give credit to Mike Malone for knowing the guys, giving guys exact things that they need to do, and allowing guys to play above their weight because that's what's required of them now. And guys have stepped up, and Jokic has still been dominant with the assist, the rebounding, and scoring. And he has really showed that he went from being a top 10 player to one of the elite players because his offense, which was mainly his weakness, was a 3-point shooting. And that's clearly not the case this year. You leave Jokic open, he's going to torch you. And NBA defense has no answer. We even seen that in the playoffs last year. Once Jokic is getting that post game going, once he start hitting those threes, you basically got to hope he miss because he's going to literally pick you apart with the pass, and he's going to allow his guys to really feel involved in the offense, even if it's an isolation for him. And that's the thing with Michael Porter. When he finally gets the right skills offensively, he can take this team to a level that Jeremy Grant just couldn't do. And he's already averaging around the same points as Jeremy Grant and significantly more efficient. But he still has to be able to score on his own consistently at the NBA level. And he hasn't shown that take over. I'm going to get the shot that I want whenever I want, like Jokic can do. He hasn't got to that level yet. He doesn't have enough moves. He doesn't have enough shots. And he really doesn't have the handle to get to the spots, to get to counters, and be able to have the footwork to get the balance, to get the consistency when he does get to those spots and the shots that he chooses to take when he counters what the defense wants them to do. And he should. You know, this is a guy that missed multiple time early in the season, and this is a guy that really got to the NBA level and is now asked to do more than what he had to do even 2 years ago. And it takes time to adjust, it takes time to grow, and it takes time to figure things out. And when Murray going out, it kind of thrusted him in this position, and he has thrived. He has looked amazing. He has looked good. But the best part about Denver, it's just a blessing to have a guy like Marco Porter fall in the draft. This is a guy that just fell in their lap. This was a no-brainer future All-Star in most of our heads. And for him to have that injury and for them to need a player like him and for him to be available right there when they needed him, it just sets their franchise in a different trajectory if they didn't get him. And I really loved him coming into the draft, and I wasn't expecting Denver of all teams to be able to pick him up at the position that they was in with the talent that they had when they picked him up. And it has really been a blessing for them. And they have always talked highly of him. They have always held him accountable, and they have always knew how great he could be and what he was at those points of his career. And they was patient with him, allowing him to get the surgery, getting another surgery to make sure everything was fine with him. And they have really allowed him to come alive this season, and it's good to see. But I still think the best part about getting Porter there was that he still has so much untapped potential. You look at the numbers, you look at the efficiency, you look at the 3-point shooting, you look at the size and the height, and the fact that he can get stronger, he can get wiser, he can grow into something more than what he is now. And you look at the age and you're like, how did they get this player? How did they get this guy in the draft when they was already good without him? And, hopefully Murray comes back healthy and really, get back to where he left off at, which was getting towards an all-star level. But Porter has so much growth and so much untapped potential still that is just scary of what he can be in the future as everything slows down for him and the IQ and the knowledge of the game all comes out at once. While you still have Jokic, even if it's years from now, he will still be in the prime of his career when Michael can finally start hitting his higher strides, and to see how they play well off of each other, how they understand each other already, really having the first year of Michael Porter starting this year for the entire season, this looks like a perfect match. And if they can get one more piece with this team can possibly be a championship team if everything continues to go right. Like I said, I wasn't expecting Murray to go down, and it happened. That's a setback for this team. But to see how they stayed together, to see how they rolled for each other, and to see how they never gave up on the season and still became one of the best teams, even when he has been gone, just show you how strong this team is and how bright their future really is, and if everything can go right for them. So this may not be this year, but they're building something special in Denver. We all felt like they could do it. We all felt like they had a chance, and hopefully they have a great opportunity. And Michael Porter first year, even not really even starting the whole year, they was in the Western Conference Finals last year. And it's unfortunate after the Aaron Gordon trade that Murray went down and they was just flying at that time. It's just a huge setback for the development of this team. And, you know, hopefully Aaron Gordon stays because he's going to be a free agent not that long, because he has been a perfect fit and a guy that really has no ego and really doesn't really want to do anything to mess this team up because he see how special this team is. And Jokic seems like he loves the competition. He loves to compete, and he loves playing in Denver, which means this team could be scary in another 2 to 3 years if everything clicks right and guys continue to develop their game around Jokic and this team. Other than that, I'm not telling you nothing crazy. This is something that we all seen years ago, but nobody seen them getting a guy like Porter in the draft. It ain't like they traded for him. It ain't like they signed him. They took a gamble on him, but we knew how high his potential and upside could be. And for them to just snag him right when they needed a guy like him in the future and put him in this position where he's growing and growing and growing and growing and not rushing anything, it's just scary what this team can be, honestly and truthfully. Other than that, hopefully I see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll be coming back hopefully with another video tomorrow. Quentin Wade, basketball analysis. I'm gone. Do y'all thing.